Bitcoin is coming down. We're going to look at the CleanSpark 1 week handle here. Also economic calendar, FINRA margin data, the money market funds. And I also want to look at a comparison of May to April in terms of the miners and their production and their hash rates and all that stuff real quick from the Compass mining articles that come out every month. So let's get right into it. So you can see here, Bitcoin is down today. It does look like we managed to make a little bit of a flag here on June 15th and 16th over the weekend. It went up and then immediately we got swatted down. If we can close beneath 64,993, that opens us up to drop down to about 62,000-ish, which isn't pretty, not great. Don't love it, but that is what's happening here. We had a bit of a double top come through. You can see top here, May 19th, 20, and then June 5, 6, 7 over here, and we just came down, 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 down. And right now, this actually is going into a nice channel. This is fairly controlled, not as controlled as we've seen in the past, but this is decently controlled for Bitcoin. So I'm not super concerned about this. I think when this does break to the upside here, that when we break out of this channel here, we're going to very swiftly come back up into the 70s, mid 70s, maybe even high 70s off of this thing. I think we're going to make a new all-time high when we break this arm here on the way up. I do think that it's very possible we could touch 62 to 63,000 before. So in this little pocket right about here, I do think we can get into this pocket between 63.9 and about 61.5-ish, maybe even closer to 62.3. Let's like there, that feels better. Okay, yeah, I think we could absolutely do that. Let's take a look. Yeah, the 200s. If we lose the 50, the 200s all the way down here, we haven't touched it in quite a long time. So I could expect it to, I don't necessarily expect it to come all the way down to the 200-day. I do think it will get caught up in this support here and maybe touch the 200 if the 200 can meet it up here in a couple of weeks. But I think it's going to be something similar to like what we saw back here where we saw that flush down and then it broke to the upside after it kind of like got halfway there or so. So I am looking at it to be caught between that 63.9 and about 62.3 here for now. That's the assessment at the moment. We might flag there for a while before going down further, but I do think we will get caught up in this area before going down any further. Let's take a look at the CleanSpark Weekly. I forgot to include it in my weekly closes video, so I've got to do it now. Can't forget about CleanSpark. It's my largest holding. Of course, none of this is financial advice or a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever, but we got to get on the CleanSpark train here. So let's take a look here. So CleanSpark for the weekly, honestly, it's been just consolidating, mostly between $18 and $15 since February 12th. We had some outliers going up above it and below it, but for the most part, it's really just been concentrated between the $18 and $15 range. I think once we finally get out of this thing, finally break out of this $18, I think we'll say sayonara to that one for good. And something I do like here is this is actually matching with my one of my big price points for a rally to come through would be this 28.97, between 28 and like $33. This weekly cloud up here on the fib Bollinger Bands, yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for. I actually have a sell order for like 100 or 200 or so around 31.50-ish. On CleanSpark. I don't know the exact penny amount, but it's slightly above $30 that I'm expecting to hit during the summer time, sometime before, mid-August. I'm expecting to see CleanSpark trading up here at least for a short period of time. We are still working on this handle for the cup and handle. Let me just close this here. All right, we are still working on this handle here, and you can see it coming through right about here. Right, we got this big cup. This handle coming through, it could go as low as 1350 and still be a pretty decent handle that we could launch off of. And when that happens, oh boy, is that going to be a big one. So that would easily, I think, when we break this thing for good, I think we're very likely to come back into the 40s on CleanSpark here. Let's take a look at it on here. What else is going on with the SMAs? Let's see, the 50 is about to cross up over the 200. That's a good sign. That would put almost all of them in order, right? We need to get the 5 back above the 20. But once we have the 5 above the 20, above the 50, above the 200, that's a really, really good positioning in terms of price for CleanSpark. But right now, it's just consolidating here. And we need to see it break above this descending channel here. And then we can see it come up to 21. It's got to conquer 21. Once it's conquered 21, we are open to run for 24 and 30 up above on CleanSpark. All right, Let's move on to the economic calendar for the week. There's not much to look at. We got the manufacturing survey. We have two dovish Feds. We've got Patrick Harker and Lisa Cook speaking today, one at 1 p.m., one at 9 p.m. That should not really interfere with our trading today at all, for the most part, but they are doves coming through. If they say something scary, well, then we'll see. Tomorrow is the scary day. We got 5 different Feds speaking tomorrow throughout the day, all during trading hours. That is actually pretty scary. They're probably going to come out, and if today is a good trading day, they're probably going to come out and swat it right back down. So keep an eye out for that tomorrow on with 5 Feds speaking. All right, let's take a look at the money market funds for the week. Last week, they grew by another $28 billion. So this position is still growing. The cash position is still growing. You can see that retail barely grew at all, but institutional grew larger. I think the retail one is the one we're watching most closely in terms of what we're looking for in terms of cash that could flood back into the market very quickly. It would be that retail stuff. And it barely grew. It grew a tiny amount. But you can see that overall, yeah, it's still growing. That cash position is still growing. There's still $6 trillion on the sideline. Now, not all of that would come flooding in all at once, but a good amount of this retail stuff probably would if we got a good crash. All right, so let's take a look at the margin debt. We are still curling up on the margin debt. It's not so bad. I really need to see this red line close in on this blue line before I'm going to be convinced that there's going to be any kind of big drop in the market, but it is curling up. The margin debt is curling up. I want to see it get to like a 0.4 or higher before I'm really kind of concerned about it, because that would be like crash territory. But yeah, we're watching it. It is slowly crawling up. All right, let's take a look at the Compass mining update for the week on our favorite miners. You can see all this here. I just wanted to do a bit of a comparison between like hash rates, how they have changed over the last month. So this is May. You can see some of our favorites. BitDigital was at 2.8, operating at 2.5. Bitfarms is at 7.5, operating at 6.4. CleanSpark at 18. We actually grew for CleanSpark last month again, which is amazing. We're up 80% on the year. We're not even halfway through the year. We are up 80% in hash rate for CleanSpark. That's pretty great. Operated at 17.3, so not all that is energized yet, but it is installed. Core Scientific, man, they're doing good with their hash rate. They got 20.4 and 20.4 up. DMG's got 1 and 0.94 up. Griffin 0.9 and 0.9 up. Hive 5 and 4.9 up. IREN 10 with 9.4 up. Marathon 30.6. They cracked 30, but they are still only operating with 25.7. Riot finally saw some growth on their hash rate. It's been a really long time since I've seen Riot with a number that has grown. They've grown to 14.7, but they are operating at only 8.8. And then we've got TeraWolf back here at 8 exahash operating 7.6. Now let's see how some of our favorites have changed since April. So this is the April one. Let me make this a little bigger. All right, that's great. So 2.8. So BitDigital not grown at all. But they did operate with a little bit less this month than the previous month. What about BitDR? BitDR grew from 6.7 to 8.4. That's actually really big. I bet you the price of BitDR really did pretty good. Let's see. BITD. BitDR. I actually don't know their ticker. There it is. Oh yeah, for the week they did really, really amazingly so far. They were up 36% last week. That's crazy. And all that came in on what, Thursday? Wednesday. Wow, that's pretty cool, man. Yeah, this I don't even know what to say about this. I would say it would come back to maybe 9 and then start trying to charge for this cloud up here maybe at 12. That's pretty cool. All right, let's take a look here. What about Core Scientific? They're the same. CleanSpark was at 17.3 last month. They operated at 17.3 this month, but they had 18 energized, so they are up to 18, but they're not operating at 18 quite yet. I expect probably to see in June they're operating at 18 or higher potentially. Bitfarms grew by half a hash rate from April. Marathon, I know Marathon was not at 30 before. Yeah, they were at 29.9 and they just barely pushed themselves right over into 30.6. IREN the month before was at 9.4 and then they went up to 10 for May in terms of what they've got in total. Riot was at 12.6, jumped up to 14.7, but they operated at 8.8 in April and still operating at 8.8 in May. Even though they've got an increase, they still can't seem to get any of their miners actually running that are new. That's kind of frustrating. Even Marathon went from 21.1 to 25.7, and they're like super inefficient. So that's pretty sad there to see for Riot. Riot really needs to get it together and get their operating hash rate actually hashing. I really need to see them do that sort of thing. So market just opened. Let's do a very quick rundown of our favorite miners. Let's start with Bitfarms. Bitfarms is down 0.7% today. Yeah, that's about what I expected, especially with Bitcoin being down. Let's see what about Mara. Mara also, I'm just want to see if anybody's up this morning. 4.3% down. Mara sucks. This sucks. It's down. Oh man, my calls are really suffering on this thing. 19.8, $19.80 is really the mark I wanted to see come through on this and hold, and it just keeps failing there. For tomorrow, we are below the 50-day moving average on that. Let's take a look at Riot. Riot is down 3%. That is brutal, but it is sitting on support, so it could bounce from here and come up to about 1150, hopefully in like the next day or two. Bit Digital is down 0.37%. Yeah, and it is, I'm not too upset about this. It's hitting the 20. It could get stuck there, come back, test this midline for the fib Bollinger Bands a third time. Remember, third time tends to be the charm to break things. So if it comes up and touches this again in the next few days, it could break it and go up to $3. So that's pretty cool. Let's take a look at IREN. IREN is actually, no, it's negative 0.53% today. The 5-day, it has touched the 5-day, so that's good. I like that, but it is still above the fib Bollinger Cloud, so I do want to see it come to the 20 before I'm super interested in what's going on with IREN. Let's see, what about Core Z? How's Core Z doing today? It is down 2%. It's still loading. It's still way off the 5, way off the 20. Yeah, I need to see this thing come down to at least like maybe 860, 870 before I'd be interested in going in on this thing. But it is showing that it is starting to curl over, like it was parabolic and now it's starting to curl. And let's keep an eye on that. What about Cypher? Cypher is down 4.85%, meaning the warrants are probably down pretty good too. It has come back to touch the 5-day moving average. Could bounce from here, or it could come down to the 20, about 421, where realistically it would meet at about like 430, 440 on that one. What about the warrants? How are the warrants doing? Warrants came down. Oh, geez, it went up to $2 this morning and came down. I'm really upset that I sold those. Man, that would have been an over $1,000 win for me. This is what happens when you rebalance things too early. Oh well, man, that's brutal. It was up at $2. It would have triggered my sale. Ooh. All right, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's probably gonna come back down into like the 120 range where I'd consider picking it up for a fourth time. Here, I didn't lose any money. That's the point. Didn't lose any money, but man, I would have hit my target, and I'm so upset that I went too early. I went just like 2 days too early. I decided to rebalance that because I was pretty overweight. Man. Okay, that's all right. Anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video and have a profitable day.